What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be going over the 8-week course. I wouldn't really say it's a course, but it's more of why I like the EOS R, my settings, all that type of stuff, that I'm just basically answering your guys' questions that you guys have left me. So I want to make sure I go over in detail those questions over these next 8 weeks. And everything's going to be very, very simple. It's not going to be longer videos, it's going to be short, right to the point. And hopefully this will help you guys in if you're wanting to purchase an EOS R, or if you already have one, into making your wedding films look better, or just wanting to just know a little bit more about the EOS R. So let's dive into the first series. Today we are talking about my camera settings on the EOS R. All right, so a lot of you have asked my camera settings, what camera settings do I use? It's pretty self-explanatory. So let's go in the menu right here and I'll walk you guys through what I'm doing here. So the very first thing obviously we want to do before you set any of your settings are turning the camera on. So once you get here, the very first thing I do is I go up here in the shooting mode button right here. So I'm going to click that in, and then it brings you into the different shooting modes. So there's aperture priority, shutter priority, there's complete auto. A lot of people do complete auto, and I don't think that's right because you lose a lot of flexibility in other areas. So to have a good base, I like to shoot everything in manual exposure shooting mode. So in order to do that, then now you're coming up to this screen right here. So if you don't have this screen, it's because you got to press info. Make sure you go through the different screens that come up on your touch screen, and there you go. Now it's all here. So all of my settings are on this main screen that we can now get everything set to. So first thing we want to do is we want to open up the Q menu here, and this will bring up what you can switch. So the very first thing we're going to go into is autofocus. So I use autofocus face detect tracking. It's the very first one on the left. There's 1-point autofocus, there's expanded autofocus area, there's expanded autofocus area around, zone autofocus, large zone vertical, and large zone horizontal. These are all great if you want to focus more in a zone of some sort or in the center. I just like tracking, and I love face detect because there's a lot of faces on a wedding day, as you know, and I want to make sure that they are tracking them. It sometimes jumps to different faces, but I just have to tap the focus, and when I tap the focus, it gets me back to the face that I'm looking for or the subject that I'm having my camera pointed at. So I stay here. We can go into more in autofocus in another video that's coming up in this series. Now we're going to go into the movie record size. So here, there's a ton of different ones. There's IPB, which is kind of a lower quality 1080p, not really low quality, there's just less information in those profiles. There's obviously 4K. I never shoot in 4K. I feel like the sizes are too big and I feel like I don't need 4K just yet. The 1080 is working great for me. But basically where I live in this profile here is either 59.94 all-I or 23.98 all-I, and both of these are full HD 1080p, not 4K. All-I gives you a lot more information to work with in post, and that's why I like working with all-I. They're bigger file sizes, but still way less file size than the 4K option. So sorry about that. So yeah, we're gonna just go back and forth between these two. I shoot in 60p pretty much all day outside. Allows me to slow stuff down when I need to. And I shoot 23.98 more inside, stuff that I see in the film that's going to be more of kind of like normal speed, and definitely during dance footage, so I get the maximum low light capabilities of this camera. So I'm pretty much just switching back and forth between these all day long. It's really easy. All you just go here, click on this, set movie record size, go back and forth, and then you get back into action here. So that's the next thing on this menu. The next one is the volume. I pretty much just leave this as default. Get good scratch audio. The mics in this camera aren't half bad actually. So that's great to just get ambient sound. The next is movie digital IS. This is image stabilization. I just keep this off. I don't really mess with this too much. The next one is white balance, and I always manually set my white balance based on the type of atmosphere. So obviously tungsten is more of indoor reception type of stuff. Cloudy is obviously for a cloudy day. Shade is for when you're in the shade shooting photos or video or any of that type of stuff. And sun is obviously direct when you're in the direct sun. I try to stay in the shade and cloudy because I like my footage a little bit more warmer, and that gives a little bit more warmer feel. But most of the day I'm in daylight when I'm having the bride do final touches. I'll put it in front of a window, get the daylight, and then if they're in the sun any other part of the day. So yeah, so basically I'm always doing this. I'm not ever doing auto white balance, even though Canon auto white balance is pretty good. It always ruins me in post because I'm always trying to have to fix the colors of the auto white balance because it's always different, obviously. So yeah, that's pretty much my camera settings. And then obviously you can see here, C-Log. I shoot in C-Log. I'm gonna be doing a full in-depth on why I do C-Log in a future video, but to do that, we're gonna go over to the far left camera icon here, and then we're gonna go to the 4th page right here and go in the Canon log settings. You can turn it off and on and 10-bit. I like to just do 8-bit because it's been working for me. So, and this is, I shoot a neutral color matrix. I'll go over that in more detail, and the characteristics of the color matrix is 200. So this is how I set up my camera. It's very basic. Most of the settings are default. But it's basically coming down to exposure, how you expose things, your f-stop, your shutter speed, all that type of stuff, which we will go into more detail in other videos. So these are my camera settings. So what you guys can do now is go play around with these camera settings, go around. Don't worry about anything else, just go shoot, because this whole course and basically video series will be with these settings. So go ahead and dial these settings in. Stay tuned for next week's video as we dive into the Canon log settings and why I shoot Canon log instead of the neutral or standard profile. I think Canon log has so many benefits, and I'm willing to go into detail of those benefits in next week's video. So stay tuned for that. We have a lot more content coming up on the Canon EOS R, so stay tuned for those videos over the next 8 weeks. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out, comment below, and I will get back to you. I'm always responding back to your guys' messages. So until then, next week, Canon log settings. Be ready for that one. We're gonna dive into this EOS R some more, but until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Peace out.